Devin, Gui, Ryan, and Brett. Get ready. You're next on episode 41 of the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis series. Good afternoon, Land Golf Academy members and guests, and welcome back to another thrilling, exciting episode 41 of the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis series. If you do not follow Reddit, that doesn't mean you cannot submit a swing to be analyzed. The email is in the link below. Go ahead and email me a down the line face-on view. Make sure you try and give me both of those to give you a pretty good evaluation of your cause and effect. If you send me one of them, I'll do my best, but it's not going to be the same. In the series, this is the first time we look at the videos, so it is just to keep things fresh and to also kind of take a look at cause and effect from my first perspective. If you were a student of mine, what you go through. And by all means, this does not replace an in-house, in-person lesson. So I encourage everybody, if you don't take lessons, invest in yourself, invest in your game. It's the only way to truly get better. But with that being said, let's get first up. We have Brett. So Brett just sent me a video, says thank you for all the advice and help. So very welcome, Brett. And I'm gonna guess you are from, man, I gotta come up with new names. Look at that weather. So it's very cloudy, it's very thunder look. So I'm gonna guess where you're from first of all. Let's just say somewhere down in Pensacola. Not sure why, but Pensacola's standing out. But let's take a look at the first thing we see. This is a driver. Ball position is kind of hard to tell. It looks like it may be towards the center of your foot line. Face-on view would have been helpful. Unfortunately, you just sent me down the line. So this is the best we can do. You're definitely open to your target. So if you take a look at the way you're setting up, your foot line's going this way, your shoulder line's going this way, hips look pretty good, knees look pretty good, so definitely open shoulders at the start of your position. And that's not your tilt. You can actually see your right shoulder. You can see that right forearm is covering the left side. You typically don't want to see that either side of the left arm, and you can see that lower left arm. So you're definitely open to your alignment. Let's see how that plays a part. Let's get rid of these lines and let's put some plain lines on there just to take a look. Looks pretty good. Plain line goes right through your belt buckle. That's pretty nice setup there for your driver. A little bit over, but we'll see how that goes. As a result, you could be over because you're standing too far away from it, and that kind of gets your arms to be up and away from your body instead of just relaxing. So I do see some shoulder tension from raising the arms, but we'll take a look at what happens to your plane, which is the most important thing. And let's put a back brace line up. That's not really a straight line, but it'll suffice. Let's see here. Okay, yep, definitely kind of picking up already. Wow, pretty disconnected. That grip, that's a 10-finger baseball grip with some open. So some grip changes may be necessary, but you can definitely see that club shaft has got some issues going on there. It's almost touching your right shoulder, so that's pretty unique. It's going to be hard to time though. Okay, yeah, so definitely some issues going on. I would say, just by looking at this, maybe some back issues, lower back issues, definitely some elasticity issues in your lats. You look like a strong individual, you look like you work out a lot, so maybe get that stretching up there. If you don't stretch, or make sure you do, especially the lat muscles, because if you can't get that flexion going, your whole body has to kind of move a little bit too much, and not a lot of width is established. The way you set your club, however, the club tries to set, and it does a pretty decent job of setting, but your left shoulder is kind of raising up a little bit, and you're kind of coming out of your posture already. And as you get to the top here, you can see that club is, trust me, it's okay. I've seen stuff like this occur and you hit the ball pretty well. But for every action there's an opposite reaction. So if you take a look at your position here, and then we fast forward down to here, you see how that club is kind of in the same place? So what will tend to happen is this club now has to find a way to get down in this slot as quick as it can. Now, keep in mind that this is going in the 0.1 to 0.2 seconds. It's very fast, so it's hard to feel this. But for you to do that, your whole body is starting to stand up, because when you stand up, that lowers your plane line. Now your club head is actually falling into the slot there, and at impact you can see you've almost come up and away. So you've crashed into the golf ball. You're starting to stand up to get your club to kind of work back to some sort of leverage motion. But at that point, the club face is already, open, close. It's definitely has some plane and path issues. So I can see this being a very hard thing to time. You can see that club face, you haven't released it because the club head is on the right side of your body, but the club face is closed. So there is some severe club face issues, which could be caused by that grip, which could also be caused the way you set your club and your wrists on the way back. So it would have been really interesting to see a face on, but some weight management issues. As you take that club back, you can see the weight kind of tipping to the outside of your right foot and kind of almost toe balanced, and then to compensate that, you push it back to your heels and start standing up. So it just looks like there's definitely some potential there. You look like a strong individual. I just question your flexibility, but you definitely need to keep your arms away and outside of your chest, meaning far out here. The goal is to have a motion where you're doing like this. Your motion is this. Now, if you do this, as you're trying to turn through, you have to stand up and get out the way to make room for your hands and arms to deliver and create that circle to be wider sooner. If you don't stand up and get out the way when you make that width sooner, with the width wider, the circle wider sooner, you're going to hit the ground. So you develop this standing up motion, getting out the way, and also to compensate for the weight mismanagement. So there is quite a bit I see. I would recommend getting with somebody ASAP who can help you with a decent grip, to help you set the wrist hinge correctly, to help it get more on plane. Now, I do recognize that there are people out there in the world that do have unique motions that can make it work, and that's fine. It's whatever you want out of this game. If you're okay, hitting the ball the way you are, and you play once every couple of months just to go out with the buddies and play, that's fine. You can get away with this. You can just learn to have fun. But if you want to get any sort of competitive nature with yourself, you want to beat your best record, you want to hit more fairways, you want to become more consistent, you definitely shouldn't be doing this alone. So if you do see somebody, ask them why they haven't gone over this stuff with you. But if you don't see somebody, I recommend you do. And let me know where you're really from, unless it's Wichita. Let me know where you're really from, and I'll help you out. Find a teaching pro in your area that can really help you out. So hope that helps you. If you do have a face on, send it to me, and I'm sure we can get that face on taken care of with the side. Other than that, best of luck to you. Let's see who's next. All right, next up on the screen we have Devin. Devin, let me find your notes here. Okay, Devin, 27 handicap, tend to lose a lot of balls off the tee. No movement limitations, great. Misses tend to be the big push right. Again, driver push right or snap hook left. Okay, very low ball flight. Struggle to get in the middle of the face. Perfect. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate the feedback. That really helps me. Let's take a look at the overall motion first. Pretty smooth swing there, Devin. That's really nice. Really nice. So there's a lot of, I can definitely see there's no mobility issues. There's beautiful follow through, very connected on the way through. Some weight disconnection here, maybe a little bit too much rotation, and that could also be detrimental to your swing when you're starting turning too much. But let's get right on the way and take a look at the basics first. So posture, based on your spine angle, ball is pretty close, so not too bad. I like that setup already. We'll go with the right brace line, we'll go with the impact line, and we'll put a little line on your head to see any head motion. As we take that club back, you stand on that right brace line. Very good, very good. Spine angle, okay, right about here you can start to see where it kind of ships to the wrong side. Okay, yeah, I see that club face closing. All right, so the grip looks okay. It looks, a little strong, but not too bad. It doesn't quite look like it's all in the fingers, but it's too hard to tell from this view. Club face is slightly closed and closes down there. Okay, so it definitely looks just like it's disconnected. Top of the swing. This is basically where your top of the swing should be in terms of rotation, and just get those wrists to hinge a little bit sooner, and maybe roll open slightly so we don't have such a close club face. Because what happens is now you're still in your initial spine angle. You can see you're still matching that. If we go a little bit further, that tiny little motion there, now your upper body is creeping towards the target. So now you're starting to kind of lean the wrong way. Plus the arms have now disconnected and gone all the way back to here. Yes, it's at parallel, and yes, you have a lot of turn. Now you can still keep that turn, but keep your lean and your upper body away from the target. They need you to hang back there and just drive lower body like you do. But because you have that extra rotation, you can see how much you're rotating. Your left foot's coming up, which is fine. I've seen that happen. But the hips are really open, shoulders are really open. From here, all of a sudden, but the hips are really closed and the shoulders are really close to your target. But once you come on through, you're trying to drive into that left side, which you do. You've shifted slightly, so now your upper body's kind of moved towards the target. And pair that with that long arm motion, right about here, that hand should already be closer to that hip. So there's still a little disconnection going on here, which could explain that as you come down to impact, you have to really kind of catch up and flip a little bit too much. And when you catch up and flip, you can see here, that little catch up and flip, you look at your body's not moving anymore, right? So from here to here, there's hardly any body turn. So you've already made that turn already, and now it's just your hands and arms playing catch up. And there you caught it off the heel, which is why that club face shut down. So, less is more for a driver. You have a beautiful motion. You have a very steady motion. That follow through is something to envy. I mean, everything's on the left side. Your core motion is really, really solid. I think what you need to focus on specifically from this side of you, we'll get to the down the line, is just staying more centered over your spine angle. So once you've set that spine angle, all you need to do is turn around that spine angle. Try not to turn so much where it has you lean towards your target, because now all of a sudden your weight's going to be a little bit off kilter on the way down, and hands or arms are going to have to do a lot of manipulating down at that impact zone. And specifically with your hands, try not to get them to go all the way back to here, because now they have to make all this room up in a very small fraction of a second. And that's where contact issues come from. That's where hit it off the toe, off the heel, ball flight issues. And to get the ball up higher, you need to actually stay behind the golf ball and swing up. So try and hold that wrist hinge as long as you can, and then the final seconds turn your whole body and just release naturally. Right now it looks like your hands are coming through and releasing too soon because of your overreach on the way back. But let's take a look at the down the line, because we'll see what's going on with your planes. But so far, bro handshake. All right, Devin, let's take a look here. Let's get that out the way. All right, so let's just see the motion. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so all in all, I mean, look at that. Your body rotation's phenomenal. You have a very good stability. You don't lose your posture much at impact. It just looks like just a long backswing that we need to kind of reduce. And it might feel shorter, it might feel less powerful, but trust me, we're trying to conserve that power for as long as we can. Setup looks pretty good. I like to see the shaft a little bit lower, so just relax the arms a little bit, maybe stand a tad bit closer to help you match the arms a little bit, but all in all, it looks pretty good. We're going to draw that spine angle line in the back here, as long as your back brace line and your head line. So let's take a look at as we go back. Pretty good. Arms are disconnecting already, so you do a good amount of turn here. Now from here, the arms are kind of going by themselves. You can see that. So try and get a deeper turn right away, so more of a whole body moving your club head, not so much your hands. Now I know that as you take that club back, that club head's going to weigh more, and it's going to pull your hands back and set them too soon. So just deliberately feel like the whole body is taking that club head back, not your hands and arms, where we can get that connection. So right here is good. Left shoulder looks fairly good. It's a little bit higher than it needs to be, and maybe you're losing some of that elasticity in the left side. So you need to feel like that left shoulder is pointing a little bit more down, and that'll help you. Sorry for my phone here. And that'll help you maintain that tension here. So if your left shoulder starts to raise up, it releases the tension on the left side, and then your arms and hands can be a little bit more freer. If that left shoulder stays down in your spine angle, it's going to give you some tension on this left side for you, and you won't have to get them so far back to elongate them. But let's see if you get to that top plane line. So you definitely get to that top plane line, but your hands and arms are kind of going on their own. I mean, look at all that extra, and you can see how much more your body's turning. So your whole body's facing us. I mean, that's an extreme amount of hip turn. And your hip turn's probably, 70 degrees almost. So you don't need that much. So it's no wonder why you have a struggle, because, the downswing's momentum based on your backswing positions. Downswing shouldn't be thought based. It should just occur based on what you give it. But if you're so far behind and you've got a third of the time to hit the golf ball than you did to get there, you can see there's going to be some issues. But all in all, your body still does a really good job of just turning, but now it's behind. Hands are so far behind that they have to start to, do a lot of manipulation. So the club goes below the plane line, but it's still pretty good. It's a little bit disconnected there. Hands are, you can see that hands just kind of shut down from catching up. So all in all, you do lose your momentum towards your toes a little bit. So that's why I think you're still standing a little bit too far away from it. And then your hands are kind of reaching up, and then it's pulling you towards the golf ball. So maybe just get us a little bit closer, a little bit taller, let the hands relax a little bit. And you need some one-piece drills. You need to feel like you're holding a big, cement bag, and just turn your body with that bag, and then hope that helps you. So if you need some drills to help keep that connection, pretty good though with your body. So the big thing is taken care of. You just have to not use it so much. So just turn within reason. Remember, driver will hit the ball for you. It's longer, it's stronger, it's lighter. Things are made to hit correctly. So just positions over power. Hope that helps you. And you are from Missouri. Let's see who's next. All right, next up we have Ryan. So I only have it down the line for you. I didn't receive the face on yet, but let's take a look at your notes. Used to come way over the top and slice. Now it's a pretty natural draw with irons, woods, and hybrids. When I miss, I tend to push things to the right, but not slices. Okay, so it's just a push. Irons, a little dig into the ground. Okay, let's take a look. This is with a driver. Okay. All right, so you make this work. There's a lot of little things that all add up to a big thing, but you make it work. Let's just take a look at the way you set up. So definitely a lot of this, bend going on here with the driver. We don't need all of that. You need to stand further and taller because with all this bend, it typically makes you go steeper. And with steeper, the issues, pop-ups, all of a sudden digging the ground. Now you have to compensate by standing up and you're not rotating as much. It's hard to rotate when you bend over, so you start to stand up to bend over. Stand up to rotate. You're definitely reaching for this golf ball, so you can see your plane is pretty good. It's almost going through your belt buckle, and but look at that. It's just, you can see the tension. You can see your muscles really reaching out and holding that. So there's just a lot of tension going on here. What we're going to do is put a little head brace line up, and I don't know if you do. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so kind of picking up the club as you get those hands up high, starting to stand out of your posture. Your left shoulder is much higher. A lot of motion going on here. You can see that club head sticking out over there. Now we're going down and left. I assume you're going left as well. That's a pretty high plane, and you're gonna have to manipulate that. Club face is wide open. Not a lot of rotation with the lower body. Right foot's coming up. You can see the right foot slipping. And the hands and arms kind of do the best they can to flip and release it. And club face is closed. So you did a pretty good job there. I see how you can get away with this. There's definitely something that you can work with. It is going to be very hard for me to describe over this video on some of the changes that I would recommend, just because you've been able to do this now. And I assume that this is a self-corrected motion, that there hasn't been many lessons, if any lessons. And in order to change you, we're going to have to change a lot. But is it worth it? Is it worth me starting to correct you right away? Because if I say, hey, do me a favor, stand closer and taller, let your arms relax, and then you still have that old motions, you're going to hit the ball worse. If I say, okay, let's work on getting you a more one-piece takeaway, keeping that club face more square to square, you're going to hit it worse. If I say, get that weight to transfer correctly, start thinking about rotations at impact, you're going to hit it worse. You're going to hit it a lot worse because this is a manufactured swing upon itself. Things are reliant upon itself to work. If you change one thing, the whole swing will collapse. So this is a challenging one because it really needs some guidance there in person. It really needs explaining of what your goals are. It really needs to tell you how to practice correctly. So this is one of those swings that if I were to have you as a student, we met the first day, what's up, what's your goals, what's your long-term goals, what's your short-term goals? Long-term goal, I want to win the club championship. Okay, well, can we do that with that swing? Possibly, but it's going to take X amount of hours on the range, X amount of golf balls, X amount of practice, short game, full swing, short game putting. But if you just want to say, I want to be more consistent, okay, well, that's a different goal. What's your consistencies? Drivers only, everybody else, all the irons as well. If it's just a driver, okay, we'll take a look at driver swing versus your iron swing. But there's just so many things at play here. If this was me, if you had no issues, you can adapt to stuff right away. I'd look for you to stand a little bit taller so you don't have to manipulate your shoulders to get that turn. I'd look for you to get your weight distribution a little bit more even, specifically on the way through. But that's a result of you standing too hunched over and your weight's already preloaded on your toes. So when you spin, you see that right foot move as well. So there's just so many moving parts. Short-term answer is just keep doing what you're doing. Because if I make any recommendations to you, it would have to be in person and it would have to be a series of lessons. And I'm not talking about 4 lessons. I'm talking about 40 lessons, depending on your goals. It could be as little as 1, put a Band-Aid on this to get you through the round, or it could be as many as 40 and upwards to do a total overhaul. So I know that's not what you wanted to hear. Very good swing in terms of how it's working upon itself. Is there room for improvement? Sure. But I think what you need to focus on is short game and putting, because those two, they're not principle bound, they're preference bound. Very little principle motions in putting and chipping, much preference. So it looks like you're a preferential player. You like to play by feel, you like to play by just doing things. Putting and chipping should be your go-to, and that's where I think I would focus with you. So hope that helps you. I know it's not exactly what you wanted to hear, but I can't lead you down a path that'll do you more damage without my caution. So I'm gonna guess you are from, man, why does my mind always want to go to the south? Let's just say this, Orlando. Hope that helps you. I know that's not the south, but southeast. Let's see who's next. Okay, last up we have Gui. I hope I'm saying that right. It's Ngee. I'm assuming it's Gui. So if I butchered that, I am sorry. Let me look at your notes. No notes here, just both iron and driver swing. Thank you very much. You're welcome. It's hard to guess where you're from. I'm just going to throw this out there. Vegas. I don't know why. I just saw one little red light. That's probably not a good idea. So Gui, I know you sent me just a down the line, so if you do have a face on, you want to send it to me separately, please send me a face on. It really helps the diagnosis process. Let's take a look. This is a driver. Let me pull this out the way. This is a driver. So let's get this set up correctly. All right, setup looks okay. Again, a little bit too hunched over. You got a lot of this leg bend. Good thing about leg bends is if you are able to use it correctly. So, when I see people with a lot of leg bend that they're really hunched over, they typically like to jump up and drive through the golf ball. You can hit it extremely hard, but there's also some consequences with that. But let me just take a look at your motion. Put a little head brace line over this. Didn't mean to chop your head right there, but sorry. Okay. All right, yeah, so there's not much jumping up in this motion. So I would recommend definitely, you look very rotational, get taller. You need to be taller. So closer, you can see your arms are kind of reaching for it. Anytime they reach for it, this muscle here starts to contract and it doesn't work correctly. So closer, taller, relax the arms because you like to go rotational. This is very good for someone who likes to jump at it and you don't jump at it, which is fine. This is just what you want to do. Arms get really trapped down low. Club is laid off. From here, you can't really do much other than just turn through. Let's see what happens. So you start to turn through. I would imagine you're leaning left I see that first move there. It's definitely pushing left, so your spine tilt might be tilted the wrong way. We could tell if we had a front view, and by that I mean instead of it being behind the lower body driving while your upper body stays back, you seem like you do a little bit of this, and that gets a spine tilt going left of your target, left into your target, and then typically you start rotating too much around, so you might have these pulls, you might have these pull hooks coming out of it. And we can see that time you timed it pretty well, and that's actually the other way, so a little bit of a fade. Once you start this motion here, once you look at your upper body, so here what's happening to your upper body, starting to stand up, and the arms just kind of catch up, so you can see not much rotation here, but there's a little bit of upward motion. Now I can't tell if your body's standing up or if it's rewriting itself from being leaning to kind of trying to fall back again, which will help you keep it in the slot too. So same sort of thing as the last video. This definitely needs some attention, specifically with setup. So you definitely need somebody to look at your ball position, definitely need to stand a little bit taller, closer, relaxed. You need to learn that the arms kind of go up and down as much as they do side to side. So right now it looks like your hands just go side to side, but not really up and down. And the up and down is very important because that's where you're driving all your weight this way. It's like you're fishing. It's like if I go and fish and do this, I can throw the cast out longer. But if I go fish and just do this, because this isn't moving, you can't release that power that you create. So you definitely need to learn how to get to that secondary plane line while you rotate as well. That's really going to help you jump up your power. But then it'll also help you by staying behind the golf ball so you can hit up instead of kind of covering that golf ball. So I would imagine your misses are just like we saw there, these nice little bump fades, or you start overcorrecting things and you start pulling them and hooking them. More so with the pitching wedge 9 and 8, you probably pull a lot more and you probably miss the ball to the right with the longer clubs. That's just a path issue because the longer clubs get affected with path a little bit more than the shorter clubs. So hope that helps you. If you're not from Vegas, let me know. Second guess, Redondo Beach. Two completely different places, but either Redondo Beach or Vegas. Send me your face on if you have it. But I hope that helps you, and I hope that helped everybody here. If you do like this, hit that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. If you know anybody that could use any swing evaluation, you don't have to follow Reddit. Just send it to me down below, and I'll look forward to episode 42. Hopefully in the next couple of days. Thank you so much. Fairways and greens.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
Know that they ride or die.